is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(8:45). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Danushka Madhawala and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. The President expresses confidence in stabilizing the economy. New laws pertaining to economic formation will be tabled in Parliament soon. The long-term development of the country is based on correct decisions and not popular decisions. It is expected to achieve a high economic growth rate of 7 to 8% through the social market economy. The general amnesty period granted for the armed forces absentees to receive legal discharge from their services will commence tomorrow. MP Sudarshani Fernandopoulos, issuing a clarification, says that she has not joined the Samagi Jana Balavegya alliance as claimed. In world news, Biden meets China Xi and stresses need to avoid conflict. In sports news, Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo says he feels betrayed by the club. President Ranil Wickremesinghe states economic difficulties have been somewhat eased over the past few months and expresses confidence in stabilizing the economy following talks with the International Monetary Fund. Presenting the budget in Parliament today, he said inflation has been controlled to a certain extent, but the rupee is being strengthened. The President said that Sri Lanka has only created a few avenues of earning foreign exchange since independence. The President said the government maintains 420 state institutes and enterprises, out of which 52 state enterprises incur losses amounting to 86 billion rupees annually. The President said that private entrepreneurs should be encouraged and provided with all facilities. New laws pertaining to economic transformation will be tabled in Parliament soon. The President said that long-term development of the country from 2023 to 2048 is based on correct decisions and not popular decisions. The Western Province, Trincomalee and Hambantota will be developed as new economic zones. Economic strategies proposed through the budget will not be restricted only to IMF proposals. Economic strategies of the IMF are only about economic stability. President Wickremesinghe said in Parliament today that alternatives are to be revisited to attract foreign investors based on tax relief measures, and 100 million rupees will be allocated for this purpose. Steps are to be taken to enter into regional economic agreements such as the Singapore FTA. Labour laws should be updated to benefit both employees and employers. Trade unions are to be consulted in this regard. Policy decisions are to be taken to increase Sri Lanka's opportunities to compete in global manufacturing chains. The President said a separate department is to be established in the Karandenia to promote cinnamon cultivation. 200 million rupees will be allocated for this. Digital technology will play a significant role in the economic recovery. A committee will be appointed to look into the laws and policies. As the mandate for the ICTA is now over, a new methodology is required to be put in place. Therefore, this agency will be abolished. Instead of a lifestyle tailored to per capita income, an economy tailored to the lifestyle of the youth will be introduced. The President said a new economic foundation should be prepared to match the new trends of the world. 60 million rupees has been allocated to initiate postgraduate medical degrees in the Peradeniya, Ruhuna and Jaffna universities. 50 million rupees will be allocated to establish a new institute for Sri Lanka history studies. A presidential committee is to be set up to explore the state sector reforms. A presidential committee is to be set up to appoint a state revenue authority. A health insurance scheme is to be implemented for private sector employees, similar to the one enjoyed by state employees. The insurance scheme proposed for private sector employees will provide an allowance for 3 months for private sector employees who have lost their jobs. Funds will be raised from EPF and the ETF Act to be amended to facilitate this. Passport and visa fees are to be increased. Special attention will be paid on a new economic program on environment-friendly green and blue economy and a digital economy. The President said a special program will be implemented to identify high net worth individuals and promote tax contributions. A gem trade centre is to be established. It is expected to achieve a high economic growth rate of 7 to 8% through the social market economy based on reforms and modernization. Funds have been allocated to promote entrepreneurship of elders and the disabled. Funds are also allocated to look into the nutrition needs of children. An expert committee is to be set up to look into the possibility of cultivating cannabis as an export crop. The President said an annual addition of $3 billion is expected from new exports from 2023 to 2032. He said 500 million rupees will be allocated for climate change research and studies and to establish an international university. A paid ward system in state hospitals to be reintroduced. The Polonnaruwa and Badula hospitals are to be designated as teaching hospitals. 50 million rupees has been allocated for foreign job training targeting the youth. The President, presenting the budget proposals in Parliament today, said a task force to review budget proposals will be established. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
We continue with local news. The general amnesty period granted for the armed forces absentees to receive legal discharge from their services will commence tomorrow. The Ministry of Defence said the general amnesty period will last until the 31st of next month. The armed forces personnel who have been absent from duty without leave on or before the 25th of October this year will be able to receive their discharge from military services during the amnesty period. MP Sudarshani Fernandopoulle, issuing a clarification, says that she has not joined the Samagi Jana Balavegya alliance as claimed earlier today. The opposition leader's office announced that a group of MPs, including MP Fernandopoulle, has joined the SJB alliance. Fernandopoulle stated this afternoon that she has not joined the SJB alliance, as reports indicated earlier in the day. It was only an agreement to act as a joint opposition. I have not joined the SJB alliance, she said in a Facebook post. And that ends the local segment of news.
Nobody tells time like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Power and Energy Minister says that fuel prices will not be revised tomorrow. Fuel prices are usually revised twice a month, on the 1st and the 15th day of each month, in line with the fuel price fluctuations in the world market. Since the price of fuel was revised a few days ago, the Minister said that there will be no price revision tomorrow. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
The Public Utilities Commission today approved a 2-hour power cut until Friday. Accordingly, the areas that come under A to L and P to W will experience a 1-hour power cut during the day and 1 hour at night. That came to you in Watchlight.
If you are following NVQ or non-NVQ vocational training course, ensure that your name is registered with the Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission by the institution. Visit the website www.tvec.gov.lk and link to candidate search and enter in your national ID number in the trainee/certificate search. Please note that this is a legal requirement. This is a message from Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines. Biden meets China's Xi and stresses need to avoid conflict. Afghanistan's Taliban leader orders Sharia law punishments. Iran court sentences first person to death over unrest. Joe Biden has been holding his face-to-face meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping since he became president. The meeting comes at a time when relations between the two superpowers have soured. In his opening remark earlier, Biden spoke of the importance of avoiding conflict between the US and China. The leaders are in Indonesia for the G20 meeting, which starts tomorrow. Taiwan is expected to be on top of their agenda. Beijing claims the self-ruled island is part of its territory. Taiwan sees itself as distinct. Biden says the two leaders will lay out what each of our red lines are over Taiwan. Taliban leader Hibatullah Akhundzada has ordered Afghan judges to impose punishments for certain crimes that may include public amputations and stoning. His spokesman said offences such as robbery, kidnapping and sedition must be punished in line with the group's interpretation of Islamic Sharia law. When in power in the 1990s, the Taliban were condemned for such punishments, which included public executions. They promised to rule more moderately when they retook power last year. But since then, the militant Islamic group has steadily cracked down on freedoms. Women's rights in particular have been severely restricted. The Taliban supreme leader said judges must punish criminals according to Sharia if the crime committed is a violation of those laws. A court in Iran has issued the first death sentence to a person arrested for taking part in the protests that have engulfed the country, state media says. A revolutionary court in Tehran found the defendant, who was not named, has set fire to a government facility and was guilty of enmity against God. Another court jailed 5 people for between 5 to 10 years on national security and public order charges. A human rights group warned authorities might be planning hasty executions. At least 20 people are currently facing charges punishable by death. Norway-based Iran Human Rights said, citing official reports, its director Mahmoud Amre Moghadam called on the international community to take urgent action and strongly warned the Islamic Republic of the consequences of executing protesters. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Biden meets China's Xi and stresses need to avoid conflict. Afghanistan Taliban leaders order Sharia law punishments, and Iran court sentences first person to death over unrest. That ends this bulletin of world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
The Chinese government has agreed to provide 10.6 million litres of fuel for Sri Lanka's agriculture and fishing activities as per the request to President Ranil Wickremesinghe from the Chinese government. Of the stock, the Ministry of Agriculture has decided to give 7.5 million litres of diesel for farming activities. Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira says the stock of fuel is expected to arrive in Sri Lanka by December this year, and although it is not possible to provide it to the farmers for sowing the paddy fields, they will take steps to provide the fuel to the farmers during the harvest. And now we take a look at sports news. Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo says he feels betrayed by the club and does not respect manager Erik ten Hag and is being forced out. Ronaldo, 37, promised in August he would give his version of life at Old Trafford after failing to secure a move to a club playing in the Champions League. As he had hoped, he has now spoken out in an interview with Piers Morgan for Talk TV. United have been asked for a response to the Portugal international's claims. And that was sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Britain's stock market has lost its position as Europe's most valued as the economic downturn weighs on UK companies, data shows. France has now taken top spot as the combined value of its company shares are boosted by currency movements and demand for French luxury goods. It is the first time Paris has overtaken London since records began in 2003, according to data from Bloomberg. The UK is expected to fall into recession this year as inflation rises. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
On to economic news. The central bank has announced that treasury bills valued at 80 billion rupees will be issued. The relevant auction will be conducted on Wednesday. These bills will be issued maturing in 91, 182 and 364 days. Accepting of biddings will end at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. And finally, we take a look at the Met Department. The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at most places over the island. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the southern, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces. Showers will occur particularly in the coastal areas of the northern, eastern and southern provinces during the morning. Misty conditions can be expected in the western Sabaragamuwa, Uva and central provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts during the morning. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The President expresses confidence in stabilizing the economy. New laws pertaining to economic transformation will be tabled in Parliament soon. The long-term development of the country is based on correct decisions and not popular decisions. It is expected to achieve a high economic growth rate of 7 to 8% through the social market economy. The general amnesty period granted for the armed forces absentees to receive legal discharge from their services will commence tomorrow. MP Sudarshani Fernandopoulos issuing a clarification says that she has not joined the Samagi Jana Balavega alliance as claimed. In world news, Biden meets China's Xi and stresses need to avoid conflict. And in sports news, Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo says he feels betrayed by the club. Ends tonight's news broadcast.